Is it live? An error occurred. Hold on now. What's wrong with the YouTube link? What error could have? Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me do. I just want to make sure the YouTube link is actually working. Let me do. Oh, all right. YouTube link is working. Bet. Okay. Cause it's saying error code on my end. Ant-Man, what's good with you? Rage, what's up? How y'all doing tonight? You know what's crazy? You know what I just realized as I pulled this up, Ant-Man and Rage? I did not change the colors for today's stream. I wonder if I can do that. Real quick, real quick. Will it let me do it if I do it real quick? I don't think I can do it. I gotta figure it out later. Hold on. Orange. Orange. Orange color. Not y'all already talking about the Sixers in the chat. That is crazy. Y'all is already chatting about the Sixers. It just started. The season, the stream just started, y'all. Hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm trying to. Is it in their options? Yeah. Author background color. I want to be this. So if I save it now. Hold on. Y'all know how we do. We be doing stuff on the fly over here. Let me pop the chat back out. Get overlay. Copy. This is wonderful content to start a stream, right? Absolutely wonderful content to start a stream. All right, okay. All right. We back. We pulling up. What's up, y'all? Thanks for pulling up the Hawks Hoops Live. Happens every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. What's up, honey? What you want? Huh? I'm using the iPad. Sorry. Happens every Wednesday, 8 p.m. live. Pull up. We talk about a whole bunch of different things from actual games to just my thoughts. It's a lot of rambling. It's a lot of ranting. If you've been here, you know the vibe. Once again, thank you for pulling up to the stream. Let's we got a lot to talk about. It's the first week of the NBA. It's the first week of NBA basketball. The chat is already going crazy talking about my Sixers. We're gonna get to them. We will get to the Sixers. It's a lot of teams I want to talk about in terms of teams that are performing well and surprising me. Shout out to the Jazz and Timberwolves. Trailblazers. And then there's teams that aren't surprising me that they're performing poorly like the Lakers, but then my Sixers who aren't performing well at all. So let's see what y'all talking about. Like I said in the beginning, what's up, Ant-Man? What's up, Rage? Oh, yes, it's back to orange. Perfect. Rudy says Fox is better than what? Who knows? We'll talk about PJ. I have some thoughts. Like, I'm not like crazy disappointed in what PJ's doing so far. But once again, we're only literally 3 games in. Me and Rudy were having conversations, aka Tyrese Halliburton, which is deep because he's great. Wait. What you talking about, Ant-Man? What you talking about here, Ant-Man? Ninja, you ain't been right yet. You ain't been right yet. I ain't gonna hold you. We'll see. It ain't the see. It's game 3. Imagine being 1-3. Ain't the Timberwolves 2-2? I mean, it ain't that much better. And considering who the Timberwolves have lost to, I'll take. You know what I mean. Rage says he has a take in the Discord. All right, we'll have to check that out in a little bit. Rudy said, "All right, all right. Well, clearly, I want to talk about. Oh, you were Hawk right about last season. I feel like you said we were going to lose in the first round last season. I don't know. Us losing to the Heat wasn't nothing to me. At least wasn't a crazy take, or wasn't nothing crazy. Considering Joel Embiid didn't play for our first two games in that series, you know what I mean? Like it's range was good. Somebody says range says 1-3 is crazy Hawk. Although everyone's teams in the Discord is trash. Lakers, Sixers, and Kings. Sixers gonna figure it out. That's the hill I'm dying on. Is it it, what's the word I'm looking for? The Sixers. Y'all got me all over the place. The chat got me all over the place. I I don't even know where I want to start. I guess we'll start about the Sixers since y'all is roasting me about the Sixers because y'all know I'm a Sixers fan. So let's talk about them to start at the top of the top of the top. Let's talk about the Sixers. I'm not overly concerned. I'll be honest with you. Going into the start of the season, when the season first started, I was like, okay. I was just looking at it. I was like, we play the Celtics and we play the Bucks back to back. I wouldn't be surprised if we start out those games in 0-2. I truthfully, I really, really wouldn't. Um, and was I going to lose sleep over it? If did I want them to win? I mean, sure, but I wasn't going to lose sleep if we lost those games. Our third game, who did we play? Who was our third game that we lost to? The third game was a loss against the. I'm trying to pull it up right now because I can't remember what's on my head. The Spurs. Now that loss, I was a little embarrassed by, but it is what it is. You're gonna take some bad losses every now and then, I guess. A couple of things I did take away from the Sixers, since we is talking about the Sixers, and not even tripping over the fact that we lost some of these games, but more so of how we lost and the way our team was playing and some of the stuff I didn't like. I just rapid fire things I didn't like about the Spurs. I mean, about the Sixers so far. I was say I went a little bit more detail on the podcast. A little shameless plug. We did a lot of plugs last week. I'm gonna do some more plugs this week. I ain't gonna hold you, but the latest episode of the podcast did just drop this morning. We did talk about some of. I didn't talk about every team that I want to talk about tonight, but some teams a little bit of overlap. Of course, I talked about the Sixers on the pod. Some more thoughts on them there. A little more detail, a little more numbers. But just a quick recap. When I said I wanted James Harden back to look like himself, I'll be honest, and I've said this before, I don't think I completely understood or realized what I was asking for. You know what I mean? I think it's just been a lot of dribbling with James Harden over dribbling a whole lot. You can look at the stats. You can look up the numbers. I want to say he's at like 1,700 dribbles in the first four games, and the rest of the team's around 1,500 dribbles. Like he has 200 more dribbles than the rest of the team combined. To me personally, Joel Embiid's got to post up way closer to the basket. He's doing a lot of post ups at the short corner, even at free throw line extended, just letting the defender push him out of the paint. And to me, that's twofold. One, Joel Embiid, you're stronger than that. Don't let them push you out of the paint. Two, the Sixers have to do a better job of getting him the ball in the post sooner. But with all that being said, the offense can't solely be James Harden ISO, Joel Embiid post up, James Harden ISO, Joel Embiid post up. They got to find other ways to get other people involved. And that comes down to coaching and putting together a good offensive scheme. And if you ask my honest opinion, if I think I have a lot of faith in our coach, honestly, no, I really don't. Let's see what y'all talking about in here before we move on to other stuff. Oh, y'all is in here chatting. You love to see it. You really do love to see it. I mean, we did lose to a tanking Spurs team, but let me see something. Oh, all right. Never mind. We did. It ain't. Rain says you're absolutely right about Dame having a 2021 Steph season. I'll be honest, I don't remember what Steph's 2021 year was like. You mean last year? I mean, I've agree with you. I've said for a while Dame's going to come back really, really good. I said all summer I want Dame to come back looking great, and he has. 2 40-point bombs. He looks like himself. He looks great. The three ball is there. He's getting to the rim. He's getting to his spots, and he's trusting his teammates. That's the biggest part for me when it comes to Damian Lillard and Portland Trailblazers. And I know we're not there yet, but since we're here, we're here. He's trusting Anthony Simons. He's trusting Jeremy Grant, especially down the stretch. We've already seen both of them take big shots in close games. And I think that's what they're going to need because the Blazers are going to be in a lot of close games. Let's be real. They're not, the talent on that team isn't enough to really be blowing out teams on a regular basis. So they're going to be in a lot of close games. But if Dame's going to be Dame to close out games, we all know what he can do. But if he also is going to be able to trust Anthony, trust Jeremy Grant to get him a bucket down the stretch, I'm not saying the Portland Trailblazers are going to be a lock for a top 6 seed, but they're definitely in the conversation, or should not at least be a lock for a play-in spot. Rudy, you asked me a question on Discord. I ain't gonna hold you. Depending on when you asked, I just truly might have missed it. Because sometimes I'll have like not a bunch of notifications from Discord, or just be a whole lot, and I just might have missed it. It didn't scroll that far. I don't know. I really just might have missed it. My fault. Oh, you changed your name again. I figured as people are telling me that the Sixers are winning against excuse me, the Raptors are playing well against the Sixers, but I got the Brooklyn Nets Milwaukee game on because I've seen 3 of our Sixers games so far. Like I wanted to see somebody else, and I've already seen the Raptors play twice. And since Milwaukee, I think, has only played 2 games, I was like, let me tune into Milwaukee because I haven't really seen them that much yet. I mean, granted, I'm here rocking with y'all, so I'm not really paying the game much mind, but I figured I'd at least turn that one on. Ba, ba, ba. Dame averaging 27 to 30 ain't crazy. For real, for real. It really ain't crazy. Oh, Steph's 21 year was the year he was carrying without Clay. You right. He did really play very well. Then he got injured, I want to say, towards the end of that season, and they kind of shut him down, and they were like, yeah, whatever. G, what's good with you, my boy? So I'll be honest. If you ask me, do I think it's going to take a lot for Doc to get fired? Like for Doc Rivers to get fired, and granted, I don't know the score to the Sixers game right now. But for Doc to get fired, the Sixers would have to go like 0-9 to start the season, or like 2-9 to start the season. They'd have to lose a lot more games because eventually, in theory, you would at least assume you're gonna look up and they could be like 6-6 by the time they're 12 games, or at least hovering around 500. If they're hovering around 500 by the time they hit 10, 12 games, I doubt he's gonna get fired. It's got to be really drastic, I think, for them to fire him to start the season. Because I mean, granted, unless they're looking into it, I don't know who they could be looking into. But if you fire Doc, like, what is your solution? Like in the immediate interim, what's your solution? I guess you just have one of the assistants step up and be the interim head coach, which is a possibility. But then do you try to hire a coach mid-season? Like it just can get real messy if you fire Doc mid-season. Like a team has to be doing really, really bad. And when you go to start firing coaches, that immediately to me goes into this team ain't going to be what we thought they were going to be. Or even this team ain't even going to compete at the level that we initially might have thought they could. Because once you start to firing coaches, philosophies could potentially change. Like it just changes a lot. It really, really does. And that's funny. Brodo's gonna watch his favorite team because they so bad he got tired of 'em. Nah, I just like to switch it up. You feel me? But that is funny. Oh, it's 40 to 32 raps. That's not terrible. That's not terrible. What did I think about Sleepy Hollow? Is that an NBA player's new nickname, or are you asking me about actual Sleepy Hollow, like something Halloween related? Because if it's actually Halloween related, I'm gonna tell you right now, I have no idea. Truly have no idea. I paid no attention to Halloween at all. True, and he might perform not as G. He's talking about some not. He talking about it. Sleepy Hollow is a rapper. Y'all be see. Oh, see, he's a rapper. Hey, the thing is, y'all don't gotta let it slide. For what rapper is named? We all off the we all off the rails now. We off the rails now. All right, all right, all right. Let's. Sleepy Hollow is a rapper. This is why I just let some chats just go by. Sleepy Hollow, American rapper. A rapper I have never heard of in my life. He's 22 years old, born in 99. He had an album drop last year, apparently. I promise you I've never heard a single song of his. Is the question, is Sleepy Hollow alive? Oh, he be in. Why is that a question? You know what? Look, hey, if it ain't obvious, I don't listen to rap. You feel me? I don't. I never have. No, I don't gotta listen to him right now. Hey, G, the only Sleepy Hollow I know was with what's that dude named Ichabod Crane with the pumpkin and his head cut off, the head cut off, the headless horseman that was in Sleepy Hollow, Ichabod Crane. That's the only Sleepy Hollow I know. Hey, is that a new nickname for me? Cause hey, I'm out of touch. I'm out of touch. I'm out of touch, y'all. I'm knocking on 30. I'm out of here, bro. Pack me up. I don't. That's not my thing. It's not my thing. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I figured out. You know how I know I wasn't missing that much? Because I feel like I would have heard him if I was. I would at least heard something. A song eventually. I don't know. Maybe I'll hear one of his songs one day. That's a really good question. How well are DeJounte and Trey Young doing? Honestly, they're actually looking really good to start the season. They're playing well together. I like what they're seeing in terms of, like, at least offensively. They're both scoring. They're both passing the ball well. It's looking better than I expected it to. I'll admit, I think I've only actually watched one Atlanta Hawks game so far. But when I look at their numbers actually look really, really good so far. So I'm not. I like what I'm seeing from them at least. I'll say that. So I wouldn't say I lick my thumb, but I definitely have licked my index finger to like grab a page corner before. I ain't gonna lie. What? All right, getting back to this because we're all over the place. Another team I wanted to talk about. It was a couple of teams I actually had thoughts, opinions on, wanted to talk about before we got out of here. Let me pull my notes up. Uh, I want to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves. Right. The Minnesota Timberwolves to me were a team that going into this season, I was like, oh, they could legit start out like 7-0, maybe even 9-0. Because when we pull their schedule, let me pull their schedule up so I can see what I was talking about when I was looking at it these past couple of last like couple weeks ago. Timberwolves games. Boom. Boom. That doesn't look bad. I feel like that's really low though. Much better. All right, so to start the season, when I was looking at the Timberwolves schedule, I was like, they're going to go 7-0. So they played the Thunder, they played the Jazz, they had the Thunder again, they had the Spurs on back to backs, then the Lakers, then the Spurs again. So you're telling me they're going to play the Spurs 3 times in their first 1, 2, 7 games? So 3 out of the first 7 games were supposed to be against the Spurs. at this point, looking at their record, I was like, okay, they're gonna start out their season 7-0, and then have some momentum, and maybe even surprise the Suns and the Bucks. I was thinking maybe they split one of these, so we're looking at 8-1 potentially, 7-2 at worst. But then you go back against the Rockets and the Knicks, and I'm thinking, okay, first 9 games, we're talking, or excuse me, first 11 games, we're talking like 9-2 at the worst. Turns out right now didn't necessarily turn out that way. They're currently 2-2. They've lost against the Jazz and they've lost against the Spurs. They beat the Timberwolves. I mean, excuse me, they beat the Thunder twice in both of their games. And I think the Jazz honestly probably surprised them because I don't think anybody expected the Jazz to be as good as they were. It was a game in overtime. But a couple of thoughts on the Utah Jazz. I mean, excuse me, the Minnesota Timberwolves, because going into this offseason, during the offseason, I was one of the people who was skeptical about Rudy and Cat working together. Now, while it's, I think, working out for them in terms of the paint defense is there, Rudy's fitting in that way, they're rebounding well. When I was looking at just earlier, I want to say they were one of the league leaders in rebounding. But a couple of things that I'm not loving is I feel like it's taking Karl-Anthony Towns just a little while to fit in. And maybe not Karl-Anthony Towns so much, that's what I maybe meant to say. It's taking Anthony Edwards some time to fit in. Alongside Cat and Rudy, when they're both on the floor together, I just think the coaching staff needs to find a better way to get him involved. I think a lot of people were expecting Anthony Edwards this season to be one of those guys that break out. And he was one of the guys who was in conversations for winning most improved player. And so far, I haven't seen that from him. Like, people were telling me we're going to see 26, 27 points a game from him this season. So far, we haven't seen that. He's averaging 20 on only 25% from three, which is, I think, a really, really big deal for him, considering last year he shot 35% from three. So he's definitely got to step. I don't know if it's necessarily in terms of step up in terms of his production. Like, I don't want to seem like he's not trying, things like that. But I think it's more so on the coaching staff to find ways to get him involved, to get him some better shots, because a lot of his offense was, cutting to the basket. I mean, excuse me, driving to the basket, things like that. And last year he was a really, really good shooter. So I'm assuming and expecting him to revert back to that. And once he gets his shot back, I'm sure his numbers will go back up and he'll look better. But I mean, 25% from three is actually is really, really bad for him. RJ, what's good? How you doing? D'Lo is currently the best player on the Wolves. I will admit though, I am liking what I'm seeing from Rudy so far for them. Like, he looks solid. He just I just think it's going to take some time for them to adjust offensively. And it's not necessarily Cat and Rudy. Right now it's looking like, and which something I didn't expect it to be, it's looking like Anthony Edwards is going to be the one that's going to need some time to adjust, to get used to playing with some more big guys on the court. Yeah, let's talk about this. So if you hadn't seen it, Karl-Anthony Towns, I think I might even have it pulled up. I might be able to pull it up. Karl-Anthony Towns was asked, I don't know if he was asked about Rudy. Cat was, I don't know if Cat was specifically asked about Anthony Edwards, but he mentioned something about Anthony Edwards getting Popeyes and how people was like laughing at him and stuff. I wanted to just play the quick 20-second clip just to, because when I first heard it, I was like, this don't sound too hot. But after a while, I was like, it didn't sound as bad as I thought it initially did. I'll say that. Let me pull this up.
A lot of this on him, and he's got to be better in back-to-backs, that he has not done that so far. Can you help him through that, or just is that a...
That sounds super low. Hold on. There we go. Oh, okay. So he did explicitly ask him. All right.
Ant was just telling us that he puts a lot of this on him, and he's got to be better in back-to-backs, that he has not done that so far. Can you help him through that, or just is that a young player trying to figure out what to do in this league and how to answer the bell 2 nights in a row?
I mean, maybe I could do a better job of teaching him how to take care of his body, diet and everything. So that'll be on me. I know y'all think it's funny up here when he talks about Popeyes and all that shit. That doesn't make me happy to hear. We're high level athletes, so
Ant was just telling us that he puts
So I'll be honest, when I first saw it, I was like, dang, Cat, I feel like you could have like left that at a locker room, but I didn't know he was explicitly asked. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like his words weren't warranted, considering I mean, in the game that they're talking about, oh, that is so small. And the game they're talking about, this was after they just had lost to San Antonio, after coming off of a back to back. The night before, Anthony Edwards had 30 against OKC, shot 42% from three, 3 for 7, um, 11 rebounds, was actually really, really huge for him. Then on the following night, back at home in Minnesota, only putting up 9, shooting 3 for 15, 1 for 8. And then, yeah, I'm sure part of it goes down to being able to take care of your body, being able to, and I'm sure there was some truth in that statement. It just, I don't know. It, what, to me, it's not that I like hate Karl Anthony Towns for saying this. It's just Karl Anthony Towns to me doesn't necessarily strike me as the leader of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Like, I've never really know he's never really presented himself as the guy who is the vocal leader, thing like that. So it came as a surprise when he said this. I don't want to. It just didn't feel right. If that makes sense, it just didn't feel right. And I know it probably doesn't make sense. It just coming from Karl Anthony Towns to say that about Anthony Edwards, someone who a lot of people are projecting to be the future of your franchise. And while there's some truth to that statement, I think maybe that's just something you pull him aside in the locker room, like, hey, let me take you under my wing a little bit in terms of diet, health, and things like that. Because you can also make the same argument that, I mean, Anthony Edwards is now in year 3, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is his 3rd year. You didn't do that his rookie year or sophomore year. We're having this conversation in his 3rd year. I'm not saying guys don't get better and learn more as they continue on in the league. I just thought it was weird that Karl Anthony Towns said that publicly, considering Anthony Edwards is entering his 3rd year. And if you wanted to have that conversation with Anthony Edwards and help him about taking care of his body, you could have did that already. That's all, if that makes sense. They're not as close as it seems. They seem like they're mad close, but they're really not. And man, I was all right in high school. I was solid. RJ, yeah. I mean, I think part of the reason Cat's struggling in terms of his shooting percentage, I see you pointed out he's shooting 41% from the field, 31% from 3. The type of shots he's getting are different because the type of defenders that are guarding him are different. He doesn't have the ability, like I said in the beginning of the season. He isn't going to have, and he no longer has the luxury of when he's on the perimeter trying to, do work on the perimeter, drive by slower defenders. He's going up against power forwards who aren't as slow, who can defend his shot a little bit better because they're just more agile and don't fall for fakes as easily. It's definitely an interesting transition for the Timberwolves going with this 2-7 for the lineup. I agree. He definitely cleaned it up. He said that their family and his brother to basically help him at the top level. I 100% get it. Like, that's what I'm like. I'm not bashing Cat for saying it. And I definitely do agree that the clip probably got taken out of context. I just still thought it was interesting, to say the least. It really just, it didn't, not that it was malicious or anything. Just, it felt like my initial thought was if you were wanted to do that and take him under your wing and stuff like that, you could have done that already. That's the only thing for me. It made it, the way he phrased it, made it seem like he hasn't had those conversations with Anthony Edwards yet. And man, Draymond is an overrated leader, but that's for another day. That is for another day. All right, Rage, let's talk about your Miami Heat. So the Heat, I don't even, before we even talk about the Heat, I think we got to talk about the biggest issue for the Heat, and that's Kyle Lowry again. I just knew going into the season, I said, yo, Kyle Lowry, he struggled last year, obviously. Didn't look good at all. Didn't like himself. And I don't think anyone expected Toronto Raptor versions of Kyle Lowry, but we were all expecting something way better than what the Heat got last season. However, so far, it looks like they might be ending up with even worse product than what they got last year. I thought he was going to come in the season in shape. And then I don't even think it's an in or out of shape thing. He's just not hitting his shots. And Kyle Lowry's, from my knowledge off the top of my head's never been like an amazing shooter. So 36% for his career from three, which is solid. I'll say that it's pretty solid, especially considering a lot of those percentages are, I don't want to say boosted, but they didn't really start getting into the high 30s, low 40s until later on his Toronto years when he was getting all those All-Stars in a row running alongside of DeMar DeRozan. But I said all that to say about Kyle Lowry, he's really not playing well this season so far. 10 points a game on, I want to say this is 28% from three and 28% from the field. On six attempts a game, he's making 2. That's the biggest issue for the Miami Heat right now to me. They just don't have enough offense. The Miami Heat lack offense, and I don't know where it's going to come from. Tyler Hero, inserting him in the starting lineup has been pretty solid for them. He's looked good. Jimmy's being Jimmy. Everybody's telling me they want to see more from Bam, but to be honest with you, I don't know how much more from Bam you're going to get because I feel like he's going to be stretched offensively and defensively. Without having PJ Tucker, he has to do more on the defensive side of the ball. Without the Heat, to me at least, doing more to make their offense better, he now has to do more on the offensive side of the ball. And so far in the season, he hasn't necessarily looked great. He had a 19-point game against the Boston Celtics in their second game, but other than that, he scored 12 points, he scored 10 points, and he scored 14 points. That's simply not enough offense for the Miami Heat. They're not going to win a lot of games if they don't get... Bam has to average 20. I'm not even going to say Bam has to get close to 20. Bam has to average 20, and they're just not getting that from them yet. Bam is shooting more. Yeah, I know. That's why I did pause when I said he's getting stretched. I was like, I didn't like that either. Bam is shooting more than he did last year. Let me see. I'll be honest. And the one game I saw of the Heat, I don't remember him taking a lot of shots. Okay, well, because that's the game I tuned into was the game against Toronto, and I remembered him saying he's not taking enough shots because he only took 6. But he took 15, 11. He took 14. Obviously, if they're not dropping, they're not dropping. But even like the 15 and 14 I like, but that's the type of attempts he's going to need to take. Like he's going to need 15 to, honestly, if the Heat want to be really good and if they get the offense that I think they're going to need from him, I'm saying 17, 18 shot attempts from Bam. Like that's where he's going to have to be. Yeah. RJ, Tyler Heroes started all 4 games so far this season. 21 points a game, 33% from 3, 48% from the field. The Heat as a team aren't shooting the ball well. Let me pull this up because I had it up earlier. Like the Heat just as a NBA. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I'm pulling them right now. Share right. Yeah. It's a couple of teams in the NBA that aren't shooting well right now. And the Heat, oh, that's not what I meant. I meant percentages, not. Maybe they weren't as bad as I thought. Yeah, they were shooting 33% as a team. It's a couple of teams that just really, really aren't shooting well. Obviously, the Lakers, 21%. We already know about them. The Minnesota Timberwolves at 28% surprises me. The Atlanta Hawks at 30% also surprised me. I don't expect them to stay around here. But some of these teams, like the Miami Heat, I wouldn't be surprised if they stayed a below average 3-point shooting team. But they just got to find somewhere else. Did they switch balls this year or something? I think it's just guys just coming in. First couple of games, first game jitters, first game back, they find their rhythm again because it really is a lot of teams that aren't shooting the ball well that typically do. Like Trae Young, he had a couple of games where he didn't shoot well. Do I expect him to stay shooting poorly all season? No, because he's Trae Young. But I mean, he didn't start the season shooting well. Who else did I see that's not shooting well that I was like really surprised by? That might have been it in terms of some of the bottom teams. The Timberwolves surprised me being here. The Hawks surprised me being here. And honestly, I was surprised by the Clippers being here too, but we'll see. Rager saying the Heat would need to trade Kuzma for Kuzma, Jay Crowder, or PJ Washington, and deal Lowry and Deadman. I'll be honest with you, if I'm the Washington Wizards, I don't know if I want to trade Kuzma. I don't know his contract situation off the top of my top of my head, but looking at those three players, he's the best one. And if I'm trying to get any of those three, I would try to get Kuz. But I think if you're the Wizards, you're like, hey, we might make the playoffs this year. So why would I trade away Kuzma for two guys who really aren't playing well right now? All right, Range. I'm gonna check out your rush trades only because I do have some thoughts on Russell Westbrook. It's funny that my guy G is in the chat because me and him were talking about this earlier. I'll be honest with you before we even I'm pulling the trades up now, but before we even really get into it, I really don't think Russ is gonna get traded. Even if he does, one, I don't know how much it really makes better it makes the Lakers. Like a lot of people are telling me there's the Buddy Hield trade, the Miles Turner trade, obviously. But how much better does that really make the Lakers? If you add Buddy Hield and Miles Turner to this team that I've been watching, like to me at least, looking at the Western Conference, I don't know if it makes them a lock for playoffs. Like it doesn't make them a top 6 seed to me at least. So I'm like, do you make this trade? Do you give away 2 of your last 2 picks to basically end out the decade to make a play-in? Or to be a surefire play-in? Because as of right now, y'all can mess around and miss the play-in again. At least as the team's currently constructed, I'm saying wouldn't be surprised. I just don't. So we'll see what the trade is, but I don't see the value in trading Russell Westbrook so far, at least, because any trade you trade for him is going to have to include those picks. And I know it is ugly. It is really ugly watching Russ right now. But I'm like, I don't know. That's just it doesn't make sense to me to trade Russ. Like it makes sense. Let me not phrase that. It doesn't make sense to me to give up those picks to just be a play-in team. Carlos, what's good? Pirtle, we need to get back to doing Pirtle. We be doing it at the end of almost every stream, but I do want to get back to doing it on a regular. You feel me? You put in like 5 trades for Russ? Oh boy, let's see what this looks like. I don't think there's 5 trades for Russ, but we'll see what this looks like. Oh, you're losing me on some of these already. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you. Let me see if I can find them. Why are there 100? Start here. All right, click to see attachment. All right. Shout out to Unlimited. Let's see what this man's talking about. I guess this is the biggest this can get, huh? And this really ain't that big. This is really all right. Anyway, so the Lakers would get Doug McDermott, Josh Richardson, and Jakob Poeltl for Russ and a first. This is my problem, right? It's okay. Josh Richardson's on a year, Jakob's on a year, Doug McDermott's on 2 years. If I'm the Spurs, and I'm not trying to shoot your Jones down. You feel me? Range. I'm not trying to shoot your Jones down, but I'm just trying to be realistic in the terms of, do I think these teams are making these trades? If I'm the Spurs, there's no need for me to make this trade because you can't even call it a salary dump because Josh Richards and Jakob Poeltl are going to be off your books anyway in a year. And you're only getting one pick. I'm not doing that if I'm the Spurs. I'm going to keep it a bean. Let's keep going. Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier. I mean, I guess if the Hornets really want to just go ahead and hit reset, and it's unfortunate because I feel like if Miles Bridges was on this team, they're not even in this conversation because I really liked what they were building there. I've heard talks of Terry Rozier being in, like the Lakers are looking for a way to try to trade for Terry. I think he might be actually solid on this roster. You got him for 4 years, so he's already on a contract. It could be a big salary dump for the Hornets. This one probably makes the most sense out of especially compared to the Spurs one, because these guys are under contract and they'd be able to just dump salary if they do want to just go younger and rebuild. Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, and Malik Beasley for Russ and 2 firsts. I'll be honest, I think you can get Jordan Clarkson for a first by himself. Like, he's actually really been playing very, very well. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Jazz ship him off to somewhere else because he's been looking solid. And I think you can get a first-round pick just for him. Mike Conley's not been looking great. If I'm the Lakers, I don't want Mike Conley. The only piece of this that you really want is Jordan Clarkson and maybe even Malik Beasley. And I want to say I saw another one down here. And then, yeah, you mentioned a Magic one with Terrence Ross, Gary Harris, and Jonathan Isaac. The only reason I don't think they would do this is I don't think they're married to the idea of Terrence Ross and Gary Harris, especially considering Terrence Ross only has 1 more year on his deal. But I think they really do want to give Jonathan Isaac a real shot, considering he's been in and out of the lineup with injury over the last couple of seasons. So he's supposed to be healthy this year. Actually, give him some burn, see what he can do. Maybe like a mid-season trade if they don't like what they're seeing from Jonathan Isaac, but I don't think they're going to do this anytime soon. Yeah, it'd be if they gave up on Jonathan Isaac. The Spurs, yeah, I got you, Rage. I got you. Calm down. I got you. The Spurs want to buy out his contract. I mean, I guess I could see that. A lot of people have been saying, Daniel, what's good? Thanks for pulling up. A lot of people have been saying whoever trades for Russ is going to buy out his contract. And while I get that, unless you're a team, like even the only teams that this even remotely makes sense for are teams that you're salary dumping. Like you're trading a guy who has like 4 years left that you really don't want. And then you trade for Russ and then you buy out his contract. It doesn't make sense to trade away a guy who only has like maybe a year or 2 left and then also still buy out Russ. I mean, that 2029 Lakers pick really, really could be valuable because the Lakers really could be bad in 29 and 27, considering all the stuff that they've been doing recently. And with LeBron and Anthony Davis probably not being on that team during that time and them not having another way to build for their future. So the team could be really bad. And those picks could be valuable. But it's just a lot of coulds, and it's pretty far out. You know what I'm saying? All right. Let's see. Rage is crying over. I'm dead. What? You're saying the Lakers should have fired Doc Rivers and signed Ime? I mean, Ime wasn't really available, Rage. You was doing all that yelling for that? You was doing all that yelling for this, Rage? The Sixers should have fired Doc Rivers and signed Ime. Okay, he's a cheater, and that's not good. But it might not give them a good look to the Sixers, but at the end of the day, he can help this team much more than Doc Rivers could. I mean, but as of now, Ime's he still works for the Celtics, so that wasn't really an option, but I feel you. SGA's been playing great. I'm not gonna hold you, Daniel. I don't think I've seen the Thunder are one of the teams I have not seen yet. I've heard some good things, but I haven't seen yet, and I don't even know if I've checked their box scores. So I don't know if SGA is playing well or not playing well. I'll be completely honest with you. Hold on, let's look into it real quick though, because SGA is one of my guys. So I'll check him out real quick. You know what sucks though? He's averaging 31 on 38% from 3, 49 from the field. So SGA is averaging 31 and almost, I mean, it's a rough almost, but and the almost shooting 50, 39. What is he? 32 against Memphis, 28 against Denver, and 33 against the Clippers. Hey, shout out to SGA, bro. You right. He has been hooping. I've been sleeping on him, but he clearly has been hooping. All right, let's talk about this. I'm not watching the game is on, but I'm not paying it much mind. Close. I feel like that's a new name. So thanks for pulling up to the stream. Let's talk about the Nets real quick. Couple of things. Yes, Ben Simmons, Claxton on the court together is ugly. It's atrocious. I don't like it at all. The spacing is horrible. And also, I love the defense. I love the idea of the potential thought of the defense that Ben Simmons could bring. I do agree that Ben Simmons on this team could be really, really good in terms of what he brings in terms of the playmaking, the ability to drive to the basket, kick out to some shooters, stuff like that. But he's not doing any of that. He's got more fouls than field goals made. He's fouled out of, I want to say 1 or 2 games so far. He's not looked good, like at all, if we're keeping it a B. My other issue, and it's not necessarily an issue with Ben, it's just an issue with the Knicks as they're currently constructed. They're not rebounding well at all. They're one of the worst rebounding teams in the NBA, and that in turn is making them one of the worst defensive teams because teams are getting a lot of second chance buckets against them because they're just not closing out and finishing possessions and rebounding the ball well. Like, and ironically, the 2 worst teams at rebounding in the NBA right now are my Sixers at 38 rebounds a game and the Brooklyn Nets at 39 rebounds a game. But and I mean, it's a very slight only. The only slight difference between the two is the fact that when you look at their defensive numbers, but talking about the Sixers and talking about the Nets, when you look at their defensive numbers, the Nets are giving up 20 points and second chance points. So the 3rd worst team in the league when it comes to giving up second chance baskets. So to the point of Simmons and Claxton in the front court should be illegal, I 100% agree. Hold on. I wouldn't say I'm ignoring them. I just got a lot to say. So in between my thoughts, I'd just be rocking. And then I go back to the comment section. You know how we do over here, Rudy. So what you acting brand new for? Did you send the Pacers Mavericks trade to the Discord? Let me see if I can find it. Did you put it in trade ideas? Oh, all right. Leviathan. Let me see. Leviathan, Pacers, Mavericks, Davis Bertans, Frank Yo, me and my boys call Frank Ntilikina something different in our group chats, and I almost said it. And anyway, so Pacers get Davis Bertans, Frank Ntilikina, and Josh Green from Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. 2-year, 1 year. I don't know if the Pacers would do this. And the first round picks are nice. The salary is solid. Like, none of those guys are on crazy deals. Frank's off the books in a year. Josh Green's barely making any money. It's not bad. I just don't think I just wouldn't expect the Pacers to do it. I don't know what they want to do with Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, to be completely honest with you. Because I'll be honest, the way people are talking about them, I don't even know what the value is. Because if people are telling me that the trade for Russ and 2 picks is going to get you those 2 guys, then the value is just 2 picks. So I don't know what the value for those guys are, what they can get for them. It's solid though. That would help out the Mavericks a lot for sure. Also, one more thing about the Nets before I move on, and then I don't want to keep driving home a plug. Yes, Kevin Durant is here. Kevin Durant has actually been playing very, very well. Him and Kyrie have looked well at times. Well, Kyrie had one game that I didn't love, but Kevin Durant's looked well. Kyrie's looked well, but a lot of their offense comes from them 2 going crazy. Like, those 2 guys have to go crazy for the offense to work, because right now the offense is very stagnant. It's not a lot of ball movement. It's a lot of ISO. It's a lot of those 2 guys making really tough buckets to keep them in games. And I think part of that goes to very similar to the Sixers situation we were talking about earlier. Part of that goes down to coaching and making adjustments to get other players involved. And I don't know if Steve Nash can do that. Yes, it's plenty of times that I'm assuming close you're talking about Joel in this. I mean, excuse me, I'm assuming you're talking about Ben Simmons in this. Yes, for me, the lack of shooting for Ben isn't the issue. I mean, on the Sixers, it might have been an issue because we was paired alongside Joel Embiid. We wanted him to shoot. But for the Nets, that's not necessarily the issue. The issue is he doesn't look for it to score. There's too many times, and I was watching Nets games, and it was one game I was in particular watching like the entire game through, but I've gone back and just seen people have put compilations on Twitter of just moments of Ben Simmons catching the ball and never even looking at the basket, like immediately looking to pass, never looking to score, never being a threat to score, or even the appearance of a threat to score. So not keeping the defense honest and actually having to adjust to him. Now this is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. Who made these accounts? Who made these accounts? This is crazy. Who made a Joel Embiid and Kevin Durant account, and why are they in the chat? This is crazy. Oh, well, Rudy, if I missed them, I don't know what to tell you. When I scrolled up, I didn't see that many. Oh, reports of Kyle Lowry winning out? That's very interesting, Rage. Oh, those? Oh, yeah, I definitely missed those. What are y'all talking about way up here? Well, we talked about Kyle Kuzma and PJ Washington being linked to the Heat. Man, I remember saying if I'm the Wizards, I'm not trading away Kyle Kuzma. Kuz to the Heat would be nice. I just don't think the Wizards do it. Oh, I see the question. Rudy, we was never the funny part about Rudy, I saw this, I just kept scrolling. I just kept scrolling past it. The Heat were third last year for most 3-pointers made. We shouldn't be shooting bad. Were y'all really? That I'm not gonna lie to you, that actually surprises me a lot. I mean, it's not like y'all didn't have shooters on y'all team in terms of the complementary pieces put around guys like Bam and Jimmy. But I do not remember y'all being third and 3-pointers made last year. That's dope. All right. RJ, I used to be good at physics. I can't do nothing now, but I used to be good at physics. All right. What other teams? We talked about the Blazers. We talked about the Timberwolves. We talked about the Heat. We talked about the Lakers a little bit. The only other last thing I want to say about the Lakers, because I don't want to seem like I'm only saying bad things about the Lakers. I have no idea what's going on in the chat. I have no idea the chat is anarchy right now. The chat is anarchy. I'll say that. The chat is. I don't know who Joel Embiid is in here. I don't know who Kevin Durant is in here. And now there's Dame in here. I guess everybody just left chat, remade a username and came back because it ain't like we got a bunch of new numbers in here. And this is insane. Nah, this is crazy. This is crazy. That's crazy. Well, quick thing though about the Lakers. That's what I was going to say because I saw Rudy ask about the Kings. one positive thing I can say about the Lakers is their defense has been absolutely phenomenal. They're one of the best defensive teams in the NBA right now. I wouldn't say I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but they're like top 3 in defensive rating. Anthony Davis looks amazing at the 4. Anthony Davis looks great at the 5. He's turning shots around the rim. He's affecting shots around the rim. When they're playing defense on the perimeter, Patrick Beverley looks good. Reeves looks scrappy at times on the perimeter. They look good. They really, really do look good. Range, you took the words out of my mouth. I'm not going all in on it, but Anthony Davis is an early pick for Defensive Player of the Year. We'll see how many games he plays and stuff like that. But the Lakers defensively look phenomenal. It's not even look really good. They look phenomenal. It just sucks that the offense is not even meeting them halfway. Rudy Bam was my pick for Defensive Player of the Year this offseason. But just if I had to pick somebody after these first couple of games, it'd probably be Anthony Davis. The Kings aren't starting Keegan? I did not know that. I'll be honest. I think I've seen one Kings game. And that was it. I just watched one Kings game. I couldn't even tell you who they played so far this season. I'm trying to pull it up right now. Kings. I will say though about the Kings. Oh, y'all 0-3 to start. The Kings have lost to the Warriors. Understandable. Didn't y'all blow a lead that game, or am I tripping? Did the Kings blow a lead against the Warriors, or am I tripping? I might be tripping. No. That's what I'm saying. I want to say the Kings blew a lead this game to the Warriors. They lost to the Trailblazers. That game I did actually watch the second half of. And then they lost to the Clippers. Kings games I'm like interested in, like to be for real with Kings fans to see, like to gauge where y'all at. This Trailblazers game was a big game. That Hornets game is going to be quote unquote a big game. Magic game, that's a big game. Like the Kings want to make the play-in. Those are the teams they need to beat. You got to beat the Hornets. You got to beat the Magic. Okay, you fought with the Blazers. I get that, but the Grizzlies, the Heat, the Warriors, the Cavs, like y'all got to fight with the Lakers. I don't know if y'all gonna win it, but y'all got to fight. Y'all need to be in that conversation to win that game. You got to beat the Spurs. You have to beat the Pistons. Like those are the type of the games you have to win. So by the end of November, after them couple of games, I'm gonna know if I really believe in the Kings or not. I know that feels mad far away, but I'll be honest, y'all schedule gonna look ugly for the first 2 months because y'all got some tough matchups that I really don't think y'all gonna win. I'm not saying this because y'all bad. It's just that y'all going up against like top teams in both conferences. Like both these Heat Johns, L, Kings, Cavs, L, Warriors, L, Nets probably gonna be an L. The Grizzlies probably an L. The Hawks probably an L. The Celtics probably L. The Suns. Y'all got to beat the Pacers. It's just y'all got a really tough schedule to start the season. Y'all don't have a string of let's play the Spurs 3 times in 7 days like the Timberwolves have. Sucks. Oh, it's the Warriors who blew a 30-point lead. Okay, I knew somebody blew a lead. I just can't remember who blew that lead. Another game I didn't watch. I ain't gonna lie to you. Why is Anthony Edwards in here, bro? What is going on in this chat right now? What is happening? What is going on? I ain't got nothing to say. I just told you. I ain't got nothing to say about Fox or Keegan Murray. I ain't watched the game. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't got nothing to say about them because I ain't watched their games. Y'all only played 3. I said it's some teams I ain't watched yet. And the Kings is one of the teams I ain't really watched yet. Oh, RJ, that's crazy. I've heard he's actually looked really, really good. Check Fox's stats at least. I feel like you only want me to check his stats. His stats must be good if you want me to check them. don't know. He's averaging 31 right now this season. I was about to say, I want to say he was putting up almost 30. You know what was funny? What I was thinking about De'Aaron Fox to start the season, I was saying to myself, I just said it to myself one day. I said, I wonder if De'Aaron Fox is going to do what, I don't know if it's going to be exact, but something similar that Ja did last season and actually learn how to shoot. Because if De'Aaron Fox learns how to shoot, he's actually going to be really, really good. And so far, I mean, outside of that third game against Golden State, but he's 5 for 9 from 3 against Portland and 3 for 5 against the Clippers. I'm not asking him to shoot 55 and 60% from 3, obviously, but if he can give you 38% from 3 with his athleticism, that'd actually be really, really good. Like, really, really good. Fox is legit at 30 a game. I mean, it's smooth. It's smooth for sure. Yo, this is crazy. This is absolutely insane. This is wild. 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 I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of out of thoughts at this point. I haven't seen every team. I'm half tired. We might be out of here a little early. I'm the imposter. That's crazy. All right, let's do a quick round of Pearl and then we out of here. I'm ready to get in the shower, get to bed. I ain't gonna cap. I mean, I'm probably not gonna get to bed, but that's how I'm feeling right now. I did see somebody asked, check all your teams' range. We're not checking all your teams. I'm not even gonna lie to you in that. I said what I think about Fox. I said his numbers is solid. I said he's having a good season. The numbers is he's looked good these couple of games. The numbers is there. You know what I mean? He's shooting the ball well. I hope he continues to shoot the ball well and it's not just an anomaly. Because that was the biggest thing stopping him from being really, really good this first couple of years of his career is just being able to shoot. Oh, yeah. From the beginning, where is that even? I'm gonna check it afterwards. I'm gonna check it afterwards because that is hilarious. The Wizards are the kings of the Western Conference. That is absolutely hilarious. All right, y'all. I think we're out of here today. I think we're cutting this one early. Because also, I don't know, something just off about the day. Hope y'all had a good time. I was vibing. Just something was off. I don't know. I might be hot. Maybe it's the hoodie. Something's off. Y'all think real quick before we get up out of here. Y'all think the Wizards is gonna be mid? I just seen y'all saying the Wizards ain't y'all gonna be mid. I think the Wizards, to me at least, the Wizards are a dark horse to get to the play-in. The Wizards are a play-in team. And I guess at the end of the day, being a play-in team is mid. But I think they could be a play-in team. I think the Wizards could be a play-in team. To me, at least. I don't know. I like Bradley Beal. Kuz has looked better year over year. I think we might see a better version of Porzingis. And I mean, injury is a real issue with Porzingis, and it's definitely something you got to be concerned about. Range, but I think they can make the play-in because when I did my predictions of breaking down the Eastern Conference, the only team that they really be fighting for a play-in spot is the Knicks. And based on what I've seen from the Knicks so far these last couple of games, I'd take the Wizards over the Knicks. So that's why, to me, they'd be a play-in spot. But all right, y'all. I'll see y'all next week. next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, same time, same place. I like the shows better when I have like a planned out. I like the streams better when I have like planned out notes and have a better flow. So next week, I promise we'll have like a better flow. The Jazz are not playoff contenders range only because I don't expect them to keep all of those pieces by All-Star break. By All-Star break, I expect that roster to be completely gutted and look completely different, and that's probably why they're not going to be a play-in team. But all right, we're out of here. Peace, y'all.